wasn't able to lock down a guest for today, but we do have a good friend of ours coming on. But we do have some things to talk about. Finally, some good news, kind of leaning in a different direction than we normally talk about, but definitely pertains to drayage and the trucking industry as a whole. So be sure to kick back, relax, get ready to crush some cans. This is Drayage Junkies. We'll see y'all in a second. Yo. What's up, brother?
How you feeling?
I'm feeling a lot better. Finally got over that little sickness, flu, whatever I had. I freaking slept in sweatpants, sweatshirt, beanie, and in front of a heater last night just to try to sweat it out. So I think it works. I'm a bit more spry than I have been, probably since the truck show. But, no complaints, brother. How are you?
Doing good. It's Tuesday. A few more days, my week's over. Going away for the weekend with Asher to do a little riding, and baseball season's over. So we're gonna go do what we've missed doing during the season.
Yeah, I guess that is true. I've heard y'all talk about old Dirty J and the boys in quite some time.
Yeah, going to our 5,000 acre park that is up in Union Point, Georgia. So got a couple friends going with us. So renting these little cabin things. So it'll be a good time. Excited.
What's that place called again?
Durham
Town. Yeah, Durham Town, dude. That's old school right there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So got some new people going with us that we met throughout the season that we found out that they ride. So yeah.
Yeah. How many days y'all going?
We'll be up there Friday morning and we'll be back Sunday night. Hang on one second.
What up, Jimmy?
What's going on there, brother?
Oh, man. Just living the dream.
Somebody's dream, I guarantee.
Yeah, man. I wish we were back at the truck show. That's for damn sure.
Too bad reality bites.
I know, dude. And it's like worse than ever. I always get so pumped, like leading into it. And then after, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm so glad to be done with it. And then it's like, who am I kidding? But yeah,
what's
man.
Up, Jimmy?
What do you say there, Mr. Talamo?
Oh, not a whole heck of a lot. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, brother. Thanks for having me on.
I like your backdrop, man. We will be there for the Georgia Tech game live.
I know, man. You told me. I just checked with a buddy of mine who's got some tickets, and he wanted $675 a piece, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on that.
Dude, you need to go on Facebook and try like a ticket exchange, because I found one for Tennessee, and when they played Oklahoma, like everybody I talked to was like, yeah, I'm seeing like $900,000 a piece, dude. Yeah, I found people like the day before, like, yeah, I broke my ankle, got 4 tickets, $150 a piece, and I'm like,
my brother-in-law got lower level end zone tickets for $220 a piece.
Wow. These would be club section. They would be amazing seats, 50-yard line, club section, the whole nine. But I'm just like, am I really looking to drop $2,700 to go to this game? So
that'll be a tight game too, man.
I'll probably be passing on that, but I might keep looking.
Nice.
You can always just go up there and try and do a little scalping. I don't know if it's the same as it used to be. I mean, everything's all electronic now, so I don't know how much I trust that. But I remember back in the day, dude, you'd pull off the exit and you got all kinds of people like, I got tickets.
Yeah, it's not quite the same anymore without the ticket in hand deal, but who knows? Maybe I'll show up. I probably have a better seat at my house, but who knows?
Yeah, always. But well, how's your Boston drayage going? We were just talking about that before we started the show. Did you get anywhere with it?
Yeah, got a carrier set up. It's all good. They're going to monitor it. No biggie. It's like California, which, of course, all these places are different. You guys deal in Dray, but everybody's got all these crazy ass fees. I just do not understand. It's a this fee. It's a that fee. I'm just like, Savannah, I guess, is just basic in the aspect of fees, but it's just like, okay, you charge, pay the fees. Let me know what they are. Give me the receipt and we're good to go.
Yeah, it is kind of different because Long Beach for sure, like you'll get a rate and then it's like every single fee you can think of, like port congestion fee, layover, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, what are you actually thinking you're going to charge me here? Because if I just say, okay, then I'm going to get that invoice and then nobody's going to have fun for about a month.
Exactly. It's one of those, like, at least break it down to me. Don't just hit me with all this stuff. But like at Long Beach is a prime example. You got a clean truck fee. You got an appointment setting fee. And it's just like, you guys are killing me here. But, it's just part of doing the business.
Yeah, we try to keep it simple, and I get it. We kind of get spoiled because we don't have to make appointments in Charleston, and there's a lot of stuff that we don't have to deal with that I can see being an issue, especially from the bottom line of a carrier when you start getting into some of that stuff. Because like if I'm returning something today and I know I'm bringing it back today, and I can go ahead and pick something up, and I know that I'm booked now for tomorrow. But if I have to bake that into my math to say, hey, I can't return it today because I couldn't make an appointment to return it today. My first appointment's not till tomorrow at X time, and it messes my tomorrow. Like, I get it. Like, I get how that can be an issue. But, we try to keep it simple, man. We're just like line haul, fuel surcharge, X amount of chassis days, 2 hours detention and pre-pull included, right? We might add an overweight and a detention, but typically it's just, hey, here's what it is.
And that's how I am talking to my customer. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. This is what, line haul and fuel surcharge is going to be. Here are the few accessorials, like you said, a couple days worth of chassis, a little overweight here and there. And no, you start dealing with Long Beach, or you start dealing with Boston. It's like, oh no, there's this, and this is what's crazy in Boston. There's a fee for a 20, and then there's a different fee for a 40. And then there's another fee if it's a 40 reefer. It's like, okay, on top of the gen set and everything else, it's like, why? Where are these fees coming from? Who's making all this crap up? Like, tariffs aren't enough. Let's add these fees and everything else to it. But I'm like, we'll deal with it. I'll just let my customer like, here's the base price. Could be a few extras in there. I'll make you aware before I just say do it.
Well, looking at it from the other side too, it's one of those things that the steamship line, the customers pay it and won't bat an eye from the steamship line standpoint when they charge all these extra fees, right? But so I think sometimes the carriers want to have a part of that as well. Which again, I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad thing, but it's it can get complicated, that's for sure.
Exactly. And there's no like central place to like look at this information. That's what would be awesome. Like if there was a central place where I could say, hey, such and such port, what are the crazy fees that I'm looking at? That'd be great when I go to talk to my customer. That'd be awesome. So if we could ever come up with that, we would be on to something.
Hey, I think that's a part 2 of AccuBid Pro.
Hey, it could be on to something. Yeah, everybody. There are normal fees. You guys know it. You do this all day. If it's a gen set, it's probably going to be $150, might be $125 in some areas. $150 is a good price. If it's a chassis, it's going to be $40, $45-ish dollars. There are things that are pretty standard across the board. And then you get into some of this other stuff, and it's like, why? Where's this coming from? Let's speak of Long Beach, for example. They got a container comes in, go to pick it up. Oh, no, we need to x-ray the container. Here's the fee for that. Okay, my carrier's kind enough, they pay it for me. Oh, we want to x-ray this one twice. It could take 2 to 3 weeks. So here I am just twiddling my thumbs, carrier twiddles thumbs, warehouse twiddles thumbs. It's like, come on. If you don't have good carriers, you're kind of screwed in a lot of these situations. Luckily, I don't have to go to the board with this and keep going back to the board, thankfully. I've built a carrier base in that aspect, but it's like 2 to 3 weeks to x-ray a container. Seriously. how are we getting anything done?
So let me ask you a question, because we've had this with some customs exams. While it's waiting for that, does the customer get screwed because it goes into demerge while it's waiting for that second X-ray?
I'm going to be finding that out very soon because
I think
it became free.
I think in situations like that, you're able to kind of get an extension compared to,
I think it
just don't have a
depends.
truck today. But yeah, I mean,
I think it really depends, because we've had some customs exam ones that were just random customs exam that came in. And in Charleston's a little bit different because only one company can pull the containers out of the port to take it to exam, and then only one company can return them back. So you're waiting for that company to pull. You then get it over to exam. We've had ones that have went into demerge while we're waiting for that one company to pick it up. Customer had to pay the demerge to get it out. They brought it over. It went into demerge again while it was sitting in at exam. And then they had to pay to be able to get it back in for us to grab it. So it happens. And sometimes it's out of the customer control. I don't know if that's a steamship line issue, if it's a customer issue, if it's a shipper issue. I'm not sure who to put the blame on, right? Because there's always a blame game that can go somewhere. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I'd like to hear the end of this one, Jimmy, to see if any of that happens while it's waiting on X-ray.
Well, that's a serious crap flaw in the system. I mean, if customs is going to take it for exam, any delay expenses, things like that should fall on customs. That's just my personal opinion. I mean, by the time that trickles down, and now Steve's going and you bought the product that might have came off that container, man, that price just trickles down to all of us, and that's just that's horse manure. So We'll see. What I was told is we knew it was going to miss last free day, of course, because there's only 5 free days. If it's 2 to 3 weeks to examine the container, you already know, it's not coming out. From the Long Beach side, they pulled the container to exam, so it didn't have to shuffle around carriers or anything weird. Didn't have to contact anybody special. Now it'll be, of course, picked up at a different location. I mean, it's still Long Beach, but not exact location. Right. So we'll see. I'm not sure if there are any extra crazy charges other than the fact that they charge you to examine it. If you want to examine it, why do I have to pay for it?
Right.
I mean, you're the one who's flagging it. I mean, it already comes with a shipping manifest. Now you're choosing to examine it. Why is the customer paying it? But that's beside the point.
So the exact response I got from a steamship line when I asked that question, similar question to that, it's all part of the shipping industry business. That was the response my customer got. It's all part of doing business and shipping.
Which is just that we don't owe you an answer.
We don't owe you an answer. So, but yeah, we got a lot to dive in with you, Jimmy. But Woodfin, why don't we kick off a little bit of news, because that actually might streamline some of this conversation as well.
Yeah, I think what's going on, Road Dog? It's probably that moose shake smelling, but yeah, I guess we can move on to the Navy Base Intermodal Facility down there, Charleston. Yeah, boom. Well, if you want to kick this one off there, Steve, since that's your neck of the woods.
You can scroll up a little bit, Brian. There you go. We got somebody running. Sorry, down a little bit. Not bad. We got a little bit of we got somebody running this for us now. We're getting all professional now, Woodfin.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah. No, so this project that's been going on, I mean, you've heard us talk about it a little bit before, but there's, Savannah has one too that's called the Blue Ridge Connector, I believe it's called, right, Hunter? Charleston's here is this is the naval base project that's going on. So this will connect. It's a 118 acre site that was formerly the Navy base in North Charleston. This will connect CSX and Norfolk Southern and the Charleston port to places all over the, they'll be connecting to the inland ports of Greer and Dillon, but also going to places, being able to connect them to Atlanta, Memphis, Louisiana, all over different sites across the entire Southeast. So this really streamlines now. The first thing people say is, this takes trucks off the road. And it does, right? Because it does limit it's putting containers on rail that could be on trucks, but it doesn't totally eliminate the trucks out of the equation, right? This is where a lot of these inland ports come into play. So you're still picking up the containers from these ports and taking them the final mile to the customer. But what this helps is it takes a lot of congestion out of these port cities, right? So if anybody's been in Charleston, in and around Charleston, you know that you go over some of these bridges and it's just slam packed with trucks, right? I'm sure Savannah's the same way when you're trying to get out of the port during certain times. So it does kind of help the congestion in those areas with the trucks, and kind of shifts them out of ways to be able to grab them from some of these inland ports and CSX and Norfolk Southern terminals. I don't know, Jimmy. I know you deal with a lot of stuff out of Savannah. I don't know if you want to pull that one up. Pull the Savannah up one, Brian. Yeah, so it's a similar project they have going on down there as well, where the trains will literally be able to pull right in, offload. The containers are then taken directly to the port right from these sites, from port vehicles. That eliminates it actually having to be on the roads with the everyday four-wheelers that are on the road. So I don't know if you've had to deal with any of the inland port stuff out of Savannah, Jimmy.
No, I mean, I've done a little bit of rail yard stuff up, but more up in Atlanta. But no, I'm with you. It's a double-edged sword. Yeah, you're eliminating some of the trucking market, but you're eliminating it from that area. That trucking market still exists. It's just moving from a different port, probably shorter mileage, which honestly, with the weight of a lot of these containers, is good for a lot of these trucks. If you want to be honest. It's less wear and tear. Maybe you make a little less money on a haul, but you're back quicker to get another haul. So it's got its ups and its downs. I mean, it's just a change in the mindset for the trucker. That's all. I mean, is it smart for people like us who might be out on the road? Yeah, I mean, it's less traffic on the road, less congestion, less wear and tear. I mean, look at the tax dollars alone that go into keeping up with the roads and the bridges and the infrastructure, because of the weight of these trucks all the time. So yeah, I can see where the trucker side of it, I can see it's very aggravating, and the broker side, yeah, it's a change. Well, what happened to my freight? Why all of a sudden is my freight not in the port? Oh, well, we started railing it. Okay. So can I get contacts there and get hooked back into that freight? So, it's just it's a period of adjustment. Let's say that.
Yeah, and the good thing that I like, especially if you're doing it directly from, say, a port to an inland port, you still have full sight of that container, which is what I like. So once it leaves, so if I use Charleston for an example, you're using the GoPort system, right? Once that container leaves the port, it's going to initiate a notification to me that it's left. Well, then as soon as it shows up in the rail yard, it then shows up there on inventory. As soon as it gets loaded on the train, that it's loaded on the train is departed. And then once it actually shows up, for my case, we do a lot of inland port Greer. You can see as soon as it gets unloaded, and then put into inventory there. So you have the same tracking from the actual train itself that you do from the vessel. So when it's unloaded from the train into inventory, same thing, when it's out of inventory, out of Greer and going to the customer. So I haven't dealt directly with pulling out of a yard, an actual CSX yard or a Norfolk Southern direct yard in some of these areas up there, which I know you can still pull. They still have their own intermodal stations up there, or terminals, if you will, up there. We haven't done anything with those, but we can see it because it's still connected to the port, which I know Georgia with this Blue Ridge connector is going to be the same, going to have the same type system. So it's pretty neat.
That's going to be ideal because you got to be able to keep, as someone responsible for the container, you need to be able to keep tabs at all times and help the customer keep up with their stuff. So that's awesome. If they keep it seamless, that's good.
Yep.
But yeah, to your point there, Jimmy, about the traffic from Atlanta, is going to remove 52,000 truck trips from Atlanta's roads. And its long-term potential to reach 400,000 trips annually. So I don't know, but also like the emissions, dude, it's going to remove 90%, cut emissions by 90% by just taking those little bit of trucks off the road. But to your point as well, I mean, you can still do the local runs, because like they're saying from Savannah up to Gainesville where it's going, that's a 5-hour drive. That's a 10-hour turnaround. So
yeah, and that's a full day turn. But if if you're based out of there or whatever, instead of having to do one and hopefully getting home, now maybe you're doing two, possibly getting your box for the next day, and you eliminated probably 60% of the mileage to where you were delivering. So as a truck owner, you're talking about saving fuel, saving wear and tear, saving burnout of a driver because he's home more often. I mean, it's got huge advantages. I was still saying,
and it's not everything. I mean, you're not losing your entire business. I mean, a lot of what they're talking about, a lot of it's going to be like double stack stuff, but down there, like in Brunswick and Savannah, I mean, those are huge for like big pieces of equipment, cars. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's going to, be a lot of what you're trying to see compared to, what it really can be. If you're looking for the bad in it, then you're just going to, be sitting there in your pity party. But yeah. And I mean, Savannah, dude, like it's saying here, the container volumes are up 4% through October. So, you free up a lot more of that port congestion while a lot more people are going to start importing or exporting through there. So, it's going to weigh out at some point because, not all business is going to go straight to rail. There's still people that are, in South Georgia or, right in the same port area. So I think it'll be good.
It's just a mindset adjustment. That's all. Transportation has always ebbed and flowed and moved around, and you just kind of got to roll with it. Yeah, we're all going to be pissed off for a minute. Just take a step back, see where it's going, and move forward.
Yep. And rates, sometimes when you get into that mileage rate and you start I don't want to use the word arguing, but negotiating, that's the word I want to use. Sometimes
big words.
Sometimes that that longer trip, when the rates drop, the one thing that stayed consistent, the local runs, you still made a good bit of money running local. Than versus losing the money running, like we had one that was going all the way to Asheville when we first took it over, and the rate was dog crap, where we could have literally stayed back and ran 2 local runs and worked like 3 hours, 4 hours, and made the same amount of money, more profit if you think about it, because we were using less fuel, doing it that way. So, to your point, Jimmy, right? I mean, you can still get your truck moves in, right? And in some cases up there, these inland ports, they're not as congested. You can get in and out of them quicker. So you could turn 2 of them in a day, and by the time you get done paying less fuel on it, you wind up making a better profit for that day, and probably work more hours or less hours and got home sooner. So
I mean, it's got its ups. It's got its ups and its downs. There are some guys who I want to be on a full run every day. Just give me that full run every day. But then there are some guys like, give me the best value for my work every day. And sometimes that is local work. I know it's kind of boring and it's mundane and you're stuck in more traffic, but it outweighs, like you said, it outweighs taking maybe a lesser rate just to have a full day run, or running into an issue on that full day run. And now you lost the next day because you ran into an issue. If you were local, odds are that didn't happen to you. Everybody can't be local and everybody doesn't want to be local, but it's got its perks.
Yep. Cool. Well, news today was brought to you by truckingnewshub.com. If you need any news regarding to the trucking industry, including Drayage, feel free to check them out at truckingnewshub.com and look around in there, because we have a lot of stuff on there. Truck pics, truck stories, our friends with UCI Insurance. I've got my UCI hat on today. UCI Insurance, Jessica and Natasha, they do a great Truck U page all about truck insurance and the trucking industry. So feel free to check them out and everything that's on the site.
Yep.
All right.
On I'm checking out this one article here. Lineage announces Texas cold storage facility amidst tariff turbulence. So now we're starting to see a little bit of the domino effect inland.
Have you guys seen a ton of that? Like, has either one of your sides of things seen a lot of ebbs and flows where like your customers like the tariffs are just killing me, or this we're not moving anything because I'll be I haven't. Nothing for me has really dropped off or really super ramped up. So just curious.
I mean, the only thing that I've talked about is we've had a huge shift on the asset side of it from imports to exports. Like our exports have just blown up. I mean, we got a call from a customer that needed us to, I was telling you about earlier, Jimmy, we had to move 7 export containers of recycled metal on Saturday. I mean, to move 7 on a Saturday where the ports are delayed open and stuff like that. I mean, it was crazy. So we have seen a shift from what we normally did with our import business, but it may just be, you know, the customer base we have, and we've been so focused with our export business that we really haven't gone out there and, you know, I couldn't tell you the last time I jumped on the load board to see what was out there. So, you know, it's, but to answer your question, I've seen a shift, right? And I don't know if has anything to do with the tariffs and the import business is down, because I hear a lot of carriers talk about it, and I hear a lot of brokers talking about it. But thankfully for us and our business at the moment, you know, we haven't seen it.
I was just curious because, I'm not being asked to requote the things I'm doing, anything weird. I mean, not for nothing, carriers aren't coming at me saying, oh, the prices have got to move. We got to do this. We got to do that. So I'm just like, okay. I mean, I know the tariffs are out there. I know it's a trickle-down effect. Eventually, we're going to see it. I mean, the news is full of shit. But unless the news is just full of shit, you know, and this stuff is not real, it's real. But I mean, it's not really like throwing huge wrenches into my process is all I'm saying.
And like a lot of what we have seen just in the news is, you know, a lot of people front loaded. So most of the product that would be getting imported is already here. So, you know, it's already kind of baked in. We've already seen it in a sense, but at the same time, like it's not hitting us as hard as everybody wait until the, you know, last minute to do the scramble. And then then we're getting hit with these new tariffs or whatever it may be. But like for the wine though, like a lot of my customers that are importers, all they did was just start buying US wines. And their customers don't mind because, I mean, you know, California wine is just as good as, you know, it is out in Italy or France. You know, some people
don't tell them that.
I mean, I'm not a wine snob, so I don't know. You know, my customers don't care. They're just like, yeah, it's a lot cheaper, and you know, we're not going to spend, you know, or we're not going to charge, you know, 125% more on a bottle of wine than, you know, we could just get it from California. So I don't know. I haven't lost any business from it. If anything, it's helped me gain more because, you know, my import customers, you know, they'll maybe import a container or 2 a month or, you know, every quarter or so often. But now they're like, okay, we need a couple pallets from here, you know. So I think it's good. I mean, you know, for the U.S. market, you know, like kind of keeping things internal, keeping ourselves alive. I can't speak for everything else, but, you know.
No, I mean, I do some medical equipment. I do some antiques for a customer. What else? I do some baking ingredient type stuff, and they ramped up a little bit, but by ramped up a little bit, an extra container or 2, you know, nothing major. And I mean, like I said, I haven't seen anything crazy on my end, so I was just curious.
Yeah. I don't know. We've kind of been calling bullshit on it all year, you know, because you have a lot of fear mongering and, you know, people are just automatically comparing it to how it was during COVID. And it's like, no, man, this is just a classic little back and forth, you know, and we're seeing what's going on now. The U.S. kind of dropped some of the port charges and China's done the same. So I think we're good until like January or February is what they were saying. So now everything's a little bit slower and gives more time for people to, you know, meet at the table. And hopefully it comes out to something decent because you got, you know, 2 of the world's largest economies at each other's necks. Like, that's just not going to be good for anybody if we're sitting here at a standstill. Like,
no, it'll sort out in the end.
Yeah.
So, Jimmy, you actually talked about a minute ago that that truckers, carriers haven't really said too much, complaining about their rates and whatnot and asking you. And do you know why that is?
No idea. But I'm
because
glad.
they know their cost of doing a business because of AccuBid Pro.
I mean, I hope that's the case. I mean, that's my baby. That's my baby. It's crazy. We have the conversation about, should you go, a full day's kind of miles? Do you want to be out day after day after day? Should you work local? Whatever suits your preference. But the best way to understand profitability is just putting pen to paper. And that's what AccuBid Pro does. I mean, it puts the pen to paper for you. You can stick anything in there you want. We're about to roll out the dispatch type version as well. Like, say for Steve, for you, say you own 10 trucks, it'd be a desktop version where you could put all 10 trucks in there, because maybe they're all the same value, maybe they're all not, but to have that number to where you could see a total bottom line number, like if my trucks average $1.75, my trucks are making money. I mean, that's what a trucking company needs. You got to know a bottom line. We all work on margins, and the Hunter just brought it up. I mean, COVID pricing doesn't exist anymore. You can get that out of your head. $4, $5, $6, $7 a mile is over and done with. I got in trucking in 2013 and I was profitable at $1.35 a mile. Those times are gone. The national average, I want to say right now, is like $2.15, $2.20 a mile. And it's so high because the COVID crunch came in and everybody bought equipment and they got held over the barrel for that equipment. So it's all higher, and that will come back down slowly but surely. But
I mean, we bought a truck in 22, a used truck that was $120,000. We bought the same exact truck with the same miles on it and everything 1 year later in 2023 for $65,000.
And that, I mean, not to get all in your business right there, but that is very simple math. The cost per mile for that one truck is half the cost per mile of the other truck.
Yeah.
That's very simple. I don't even need a calculator.
Right.
If your payment on one is $2,000. You can
throw this away, right? You don't even have to get this out to do it.
Exactly. If the payment on one is $2,000, the payment on the other is $1,000. Well, that's a huge discrepancy. Mm-hmm. So that's what AccuBid was built for, man, to try to help the little guy. And as we help the little guy, we actually want to help the small company as well. Now, it's not the tool for the JB Hunts of the world who got 2,000 trucks on the road. They don't care. They're running off of volume. They don't care. But the guy who's running a truck, 2 trucks, 10 trucks, those numbers really matter, because if you're taking a 5-cent loss on all your freight, well, that's bad. But hey, if you are making a 5 cent or 10 cent a mile profit on all your freight, it's actually not horrible. So, it's living in the margins that you're okay living in.
Yep. So for all you cutthroat truckers out there in the drayage world that want to go run, $1, quote stuff at $1.15 a mile, right? Know your, and then you want to cry when you're out of business next week. Know your cost to move that truck. And I figured I'd give you a second there to talk about it, man, because
hey, I appreciate it.
No, it's cool. I like it. I encourage everybody to go check it out if they don't know what the rate is. The cost per mile is, like I said, to start that truck up, you need to know what it costs you to start that thing up. So if knowing that number helps you quote your move. So
it does. I mean, you won't feel like every broker out there is cheating you and they won't pay me and this and that. I mean, a lot of brokers don't. A lot of brokers also are based on margin. And, their company, if you work for a company, I don't work for a company. I work for myself. I can pay a truck whatever I feel like I can pay a truck within reason. But mega companies out there, they're working on volume as well. And we are guaranteeing we're only going to give away this much money. And we'll let that thing sit out there all day till somebody pulls it for cheap. So we are going to make our profit. That's not me. Yeah, Steve is probably not you. Hunter is probably not you. But the broker is not always the bad guy. A lot of times it starts at square one. If I call Steve about a load and Steve says, yeah, what can you do it for? Well, I need to have a good price in my head. Because if I tell Steve it's $7 a mile, Steve's probably going to chuckle and hang up the phone. The conversation has ended. We're not even negotiating. Steve is laughing at me. But if I'm in a 10, 15, 20% margin for my truck, odds are I'm in a fair space with Steve where we can negotiate to a good number. So that's where it starts. I won't lie. I use AccuBid in my bidding with my customers because I know how to operate a truck. So I know what it costs these guys. So I don't go to my customer and say, I'm out here running freight for $2 a mile all day. No, I'm not. That's a lie. I'm not. I can't do that. But here's what I think it's going to cost the truck. Here's a little bit of money for me. Can we make it work? So.
Yeah, that could even bring I never even thought about it from the brokerage side, but if you're dealing with let's say a 20-lane project, and you can honestly bring that to the table with your carrier and be like, hey, look, let's run this through. What do you need to make? Give us a general idea about where your trucks are sitting at. Here's what I need to be sitting at, because we all got to keep the lights on. But yeah, dude, it's been a while since I've been a broker, but shit, I'm even guilty of, if it's a new customer, new lane, new territory, I don't really know what's going on except for what DAT is telling me, and I have a general idea of what I want to make, but it's just it's so blind, because I get mad at carriers because you can just tell when someone doesn't really know what they're wanting except for a bunch of money, They
want a bunch of money, but don't we all?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, I had to learn the hard way. You can come in aggressive, and hey, if you win at that high margin, good for you. But how long is that going to last? Because the next guy's going to come in that spends a little more time, does his research, knows his shit a little bit more than you, and you're out the door. Because then that customer's going to be like, well, why have you been ripping me off for $1.50 a mile for the past, 3 months? And it's just that.
I'll be 100% honest. I got lanes I've ran for the past 2.5 years, the exact same lanes with the exact same carrier. And you know what? We've never went back and forth on price since we established it.
Yep.
Good.
Because it's fair. It's fair price. Yeah. They're not out here to make another, they don't hit me every time national fuel surcharge changes. They don't come at me, let's adjust this rate. We just run it how it is because they're making money. It's a nice little margin for everybody. No biggie. And that's it. It starts at square one. The truck does the work. Know your value, price yourself fair, and do the job you're hired to do, and we're all going to get along just fine. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, we had a customer that we've been working with the same customer since June of 22, and obviously, at that time the rate was significantly higher because we were still working off of COVID rates. Well, it was I want to say mid-July, about a year later, all of a sudden they're, it was pretty consistent, and it was an export customer I had, and it was pretty consistent. And all of a sudden their volume started dropping off. And when my driver, be a couple a month instead of the, 20 a month we'd have. So when the driver got there, he started noticing some other carriers there. So I made a phone call, and, the customer just loved our relationship, but didn't want to come back. He didn't want to devalue me. Right. So he didn't want to come back and be like, hey, I need you to give me a better rate on this. So he was just finding some other people to do it, even though he wasn't necessarily happy with the service, but it was a little bit cheaper. Once we had that conversation, I just readjusted to what, again, was, because looking at that rate, it probably was a little bit higher than it needed to be at that point because it was still running off a kind of COVID rate. So I readjusted it and said, hey, let's keep this conversation going. And that was the same customer that I just ran 7 of them on Saturday for. So
that's all you can
do. The dialogue needs to stay open in a partnership. It's not one way.
It does. It's not a one-way street at all. And the sad part is, truckers feel like it's a one-way street, like it's legitimately the broker's freight. No, it's not my freight. I go find this, try to negotiate a good deal, and then I find you and I try to negotiate a good deal. Well, guess what? Now I'm the man in the middle, monkey in the middle, and I got to keep both sides happy. So yeah, you got to keep talking. If it's not working for you at that rate and you can't find carriers, well, it's on us to let the customer know, I just can't get it done here. I'm sorry. And if they'll come up, and if they let you go, they'll let you go. But you got to be honest and you got to be fair.
So you're 100% or what? Well, same with me. Pretty large percentages all drayage.
For me personally, I'm 100% drayage. I got some people on my team. They move equipment and cars and things of that nature. Me, I pretty much only touch drayage. I got one customer I quote some flatbed for. It's rare. I don't get it because I'm not cheap. Flatbed guys work for their money. They get out, they throw tarps, they throw straps, the whole nine. So, yeah, I'm not cheap. So I don't win much of that, but I try.
I didn't know that. I always thought you were more traditional, but that's cool.
So I didn't actually know that either until we conversated at in Atlanta. That's when I knew he was. I guess I didn't realize he was 100% drayage until.
That's what caught me off guard. And he was like, "Hey, do you have any drayage carriers in Boston?" I was like, "What are you doing talking to me about drayage, Jimmy?" Like,
well, it was one of those things that just kind of fell in my lap. I mean, I just recently did an export out of Miami, and that was interesting. Working with Crowley was fun to say the least. But we got it done. No problem. That bacon is now going overseas, so we're good.
once the carrier figured out he needed to add Crowley to his UIA, all was well.
Steve knows. I called like, "Hey, brother, you got any idea what might be going on with these fools?" But yeah, we got it all sorted out.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, a carrier that either hasn't ran it that much or maybe just does a little bit of it, right? I mean, you can pull in being like, all right, I got my TWIC card. I've got my whatever Miami uses. We'll call it GoPort. I don't know what they use down there to get in there, right? They know they have access to that. All of a sudden they go to pin something. They're like, oh, yeah, you're not authorized to do this. And there's every single one of those equipment providers, you have to check a box with them. And some of it is as easy as heck just to say, yep, sign this form and I'm good to go. I know Maersk, for example, is one that if you don't pull for Maersk and you go to pull for them for the first time, you have to have an inspection before they'll let you pull. So every one of them's got their own little tricky things. But I think I know for GoPort, there's like 50 or 51 equipment providers in there. Even with us, we're only registered to do like 25 of them. I mean,
right.
The other ones we haven't needed, right? I mean, we've never had to pull. If something ever comes up for Crowley, like we would have to go in there and register with them. And it only takes a second to do, but we'd have to register with them because we're not. Because I actually looked it up when Jimmy was asking me about it. I was like, yeah, we're not even registered to pull it. But, everything from steamship lines to equipment providers to, you name it. See all the rail yards, you have to be set up with them individually.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that when I was getting us set up with the UIA. I was like, oh God, dude, here's a whole nother area to freaking be messing with. But
yeah.
I mean, it's smart though. I'd prefer that than just them allowing any Joe Schmo to run in there and start pulling freight.
True, but you got to take it from my side as a non-asset based. That's not something that I can see. So when something like that falls in my lap, it's like, okay, now what? What did I do wrong? Who do I need to call? And of course, I got you guys to reach out to kind of help me out. But there's no place for me to go look and say, hey, is Hunter registered for Crowley? I can't look that information up. I could call Crowley and get to it, maybe. It's not something my customer can do either. So it's like, oh boy. So yeah, we crisis averted, but it was an interesting moment, that's for sure.
Well, that's what I mean. Like when you were booking that carrier, did they not ask you what steamship line it was?
I gave them all the information, and they didn't.
And they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't say yay or nay. Maybe they were in their system, but for some reason they were suspended in their system. And I'm with Steve. I think they didn't click something, they never finished their setup because maybe they had never pulled for them. Mm-hmm. It was something pretty simple, but it was just like, okay, now what?
Yeah, and I've dealt with that too. Like for example, when I was dealing with the Houston drayage, like one of the companies I was planning on utilizing for these pools was a company I used to work for. And, they're big in like all of Florida, Savannah, Charleston, and they needed a liquor license. Well, it said on Drayage.com. And I saw this with a few other carriers on there where they'd have, it marked that they had all of these permits, everything was ready to go. And then it comes down to like day of, I'm like, okay, are we ready to send this over? And then you got an ops manager coming in saying like, oh, we don't have this, we don't do this. And it's like, well, fucking A, man, I would have loved to have known that 4 days ago.
Yeah,
exactly.
Why'd you check that box then?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that comes with growth. But if it were me and I was growing a company, I'd probably be a little hands-on. Like, okay, we're in this market. Here's what we're planning on doing. Maybe check your boxes. It's not cookie cut. We wish it was. We've talked about this a million times. If it was regulated across all ports and terminals, wow, it'd be a lot easier.
That'd be amazing.
just wanted to pull up Josh's question here because Josh, to answer your question, I'm pretty sure we need a boat to actually dray out of Lake Michigan. Now there might be a terminal around there.
There's probably a terminal.
but if it's an actual lake itself, you're probably going to need a boat to actually get on there.
If the Edmund Fitzgerald couldn't get it done, I don't know if we can.
We could find a barge. We could make it happen.
Right? Put some pontoons on the truck.
I've done some crazy shit like that, man. Back when I was working for that Canadian company, I was helping one of our new guys. I don't know how the hell he got this account, but it was like these big silos that were coming from like Newfoundland or Newfoundland, whatever it is over there. Had to barge it across, bring it all the way across Canada. And when we were talking about the X-rays, you ever had something that needed to get fumigated?
Yep.
No.
Oh, dude, it is a shit show. And yeah. My buddy did I didn't really know what we were doing because I'd only dealt with Drayage at that point, and it took like a month too long, and it ended up missing this like season that they had over there, and it was like this huge $20,000 claim, like freaking God put this company out of business, and I was like, oh my god. So there's always a way to do something, but you better know what the fuck you're doing because you'll end up in some shit.
Yeah, we've moved export chicken feed and dog food that actually had to be fumigated before we could pick them up. So yeah, once they would get loaded, they had to go through a fumigated process, and then once they got cleared, we could go pick them up and then bring them to the port.
Wow, yep. That's awesome right there. No, I mean, is that even healthy to consume anymore? Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay.
They just fumigate the outside of the can, wouldn't they? I wouldn't imagine.
Oh yeah. It's already sealed up and all that stuff.
Well, Jimmy on that, I was like,
Well, let's be honest. Are these cans are they really airtight?
Yeah, I can tell you that. Yeah, you look at the floors on some of these.
Exactly.
Some of these containers you look at nighttime when you pick them up when it's dark out and there's no sunlight coming through. You don't see any holes. All of a sudden you get to the customer when the sun's out and there's all kinds of stuff.
I'm glad that was an export.
Oh, I like Josh's idea here. Do an episode on U.S. coastal underwater waterways.
Wow.
Connor and I have talked about obviously joking, but we've talked about getting on the vessel and going out and doing some scuba diving and going and trying to container recovery of open up some containers underwater and because if you watch those videos all the time of just containers just falling off of ships
where they fall off the boat.
Yeah, let's go instead of going. What is it like? I don't want to find the pirate ship underneath the water. I want to go find the container that has, gold nuggets in it.
And the Porsches and the Ferraris and all that. Go get me that stuff.
Yeah. My luck.
I mean, because even flooded, you got to be able to park that thing out for tons of money.
I'll even take the container of TVs because you can get the scrap metal out. You can get all the copper out of it.
That's right. Get all the smart chips and the rare earths and sell it back to the U.S.
Yeah.
That's
fun. Well, I looked up intercoastal waterways here. First thing that popped up is Boston.
Oh, look at there, Boston.
But yeah, that would be cool though. Like, the Mississippi River and all that shit. Because you don't see like big container ships running through Nashville, but we have a bunch of barges and all that cool shit running through there. Which I've always wanted to get my hands on something like that, but that's a whole other ball game.
Yes, it is. I used to have a broker who used to ask me, like, can I come work for you and do this stuff? And I was like, I don't know anything about that stuff, so I wouldn't be any good to help you. But if my insurance and license is legal for you to do it, then sure. But I can't help you. Yeah,
because then you're like doing your pricing by freaking metric tons and all that shit. And I wouldn't even know where to start. I'm sure there's some money to be made in it, but
I have no idea. I was just like, wow. First time it was ever even brought to my attention when he brought it up. He's like, yeah, man, they move stuff up and down the Mississippi all the time. And I was like, oh, okay.
Jimmy, what's the most interesting thing that you've moved in a container?
Nothing crazy interesting, to be honest with you. I haven't done any open tops, anything weird, oversized, overweight, nothing. I hate to be the boring guy, but it's all been pretty boring.
I think the craziest shit I ever did, and it wasn't even crazy, it was like baby wipes, but they were coming out of Israel right when all the shit started going down on Gaza, and I was working for that international company, and somehow we got it done. But I think I was telling you, Steve, I felt like I was in that movie War Dogs.
Right?
Yeah.
Not moving guns, but bringing in bamboo baby wipes, which at the same time I didn't even know, like, could have been baby wipes, could have not been. My customer was out of Chicago, one of those things. That's like the first time I ever got drayage, dude. Like, I had this huge 4PL customer out of Long Beach, and like my first ever piece of freight that I ever pulled was a container full of Croc shoes. And then like it just started flowing big time. And so I started doing research on this company and like couldn't really find anything, and like couldn't find my customer on LinkedIn or nothing like that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be one of those guys, because this is about that time when like that huge drug bust happened in Philly, like that container full of cocaine and like all kinds of shit. And I was like, dude, this is like it is really unregulated. Like some of the stuff you see that squeezes through the ports, and
it is. And I mean, you, Steve, we got no way of knowing really what's in there other than what we're told.
Yeah, 90% of it says general cargo.
Exactly. So to my knowledge, I'm pulling some medical equipment. I'm pulling some antiques.
Right.
But I don't really know. I don't know what's in there. And maybe I don't want to know what's in there.
So you say antiques, like old furniture from Europe, or?
Yep. I have a lady who brings in stuff from Italy and sells it in Atlanta. She goes to Italy for weeks at a time. She loads containers, and then she brings them back and has me bring them to her antique store.
We moved this crazy old historic altar for a Catholic church that came in from Cuba that went up to Myrtle Beach. That was kind of sketchy because, you hear a lot of weird things about that.
The craziest thing I moved was a piece of artwork out of an auction house. It was, I forget what it was now, 80 inches by 80 inches, somewhere right in that neighborhood, white glove service. Had to go in the back of the cargo van, be carried around, wrapped up and shrink wrapped the whole nine. But that was probably the craziest thing. It went off pretty smooth, surprisingly, and I had never done it. So it was interesting finding someone to do it. But that was probably, that was just, cargo van type deal, one hit deal. But yeah, then the auction people started like giving my name out and saying, hey, if you need your stuff moved. So now I got people calling like, can you move this statue? Can you move this baptismal, all kind of weird stuff. But yeah, container wise, it's been pretty boring.
Talk to old Steve Tittle about that, man. He's the king of moving random expensive shit. He owns that company out there in Arizona, and he like builds custom crates and like does the whole nine. But yeah. When you get that big money though, because like, do you know Chris Thomas, Indie Trucker?
Mm-mm.
No, well, he's been driving for a long time, but he told me he was driving dry van and he moved one painting that was worth like $1.5 million or some shit, and that'd be like police escorted, all kinds of stuff. Dude.
Yeah. But that was the first thing I asked the guy was like, what's the value of this piece of artwork? Because I have to know, I have to get a special policy, or I have to make sure a carrier can cover whatever. Luckily it was, $3 or $4 grand. It wasn't like very, very expensive, but
yeah. I mean, it's still expensive though, dude, because we deal with the same shit like on wine. Like, some people will go to these wineries and order a barrel, that they have been looking at since like 2020. And if that shit breaks, dude, yeah, the money's one thing, but when you're dealing with someone's like dream, like they've like, I don't know, it's a little nerve wracking sometimes, to say the least.
A little different amount of pressure. That's all.
Yeah. But it's still freight, There's only so much that's in our control. So.
Oh yeah. Well, that altar I was telling you about that we did for the Catholic Church was funny. When we got there, the customer didn't realize, like, I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but driver gets there and they're like, "Oh, can you put this container on the ground?" Yeah, that's not going to happen unless you got some kind of forklift or crane or something to get this thing off. So I won't put it. Yeah, right. but they did one crazy not approved docking system that they created out of the back of that thing to unload it, and I won't even share those pictures, but yeah, it was definitely not certified by any agency at all, but they got it unloaded. But yeah, we first pulled up, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna need this on the ground. Yeah, it's not an option. Where's your loading dock? Yeah, we don't have a loading dock.
All right, sounds like a serious OSHA problem.
We'll be in the truck taking a nap. Let us know when y'all get this figured out.
It's funny the things that are out there that people want moved. I mean, I got a guy right now. He's in Miami, and he's always buying junk tractor and trailers. So my guys are like trying to stuff 2 and 3 on flatbeds to get them to him, and then he'll part all those out, and we put all the parts into dry vans and take them out to Texas. So there's tons of stuff out there that needs to be moved. I mean, you just got to be willing to work around the problem. That's all.
Weird freight's the best though. Keeps it interesting.
Before we got into the metal recycling, like I didn't even realize that existed. Like before you get into this business, there's so much stuff you don't realize. But that you pull up to the customer for the first time, and they just start dumping all this crap in your container with a bobcat, and you're like, it was just piles of like ceiling fan motors and alternators and starters and drill motors and all this. We're like, what the hell is going on here? And 2.5 years, 3 years later, and I couldn't even tell you how many 1,000 containers later, it's like, yeah, there's a market for this shit.
There is. I mean, like you said earlier, get the container out of the ocean, recycle whatever's in there. That's what they're doing. Send that stuff over. Next thing you know, when your TV comes back, it's running off a compressor motor.
Right.
Oh, man. All right, fellas. I enjoyed the chat, guys.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you tuning on with us. Wish you would have known that you were more of a Drayman.
I wouldn't go that far. Let's say I dabble, I dabble in Drayman. No, I'm really that's was the last thing I did as asset base, so it's kind of where I focused when I went strictly to brokerage. So it's kind of got my heart.
I like it, man. Once you that's the whole reason why this show was created, right? I mean, once you get hooked on it, it's like a drug, man. It's like, I mean, I know people talk about over the road stuff and they move, and I know heavy haul is a big thing and stuff, but drayage is cool because, like you actually said, like you have no idea what's going to be in that container when you open it. Sometimes you'll have a general idea, sometimes, but 9 times out of 10, it's listed as general cargo.
Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting when the guys will send you a picture like, look at what this is, and you're like, whoa, it'll take you back.
Oh yeah, and the loading standards in other countries
those don't exist
as that is in America. So you open that up and you're like, how in the hell did they stuff this in this? Like what? When we moved a car, the Range Rover for the first time, I was like, I can't open the door. My fat ass ain't gonna squeeze in there. And so then luckily I had Ethan with me, so I shoved him through the back hatch to crawl through the car to go up and put it in neutral so we could roll it out. But it's like when I opened the door, I was like, and you can't start it because they take the battery out and they take all the gas out before they ship it. So there's none of that. So it's like, all right, put it in neutral and push it.
Figure it out. That's right.
Yeah.
It's every day is a challenge. It's the same with anything, I guess. I mean, if you do dry vans, you understand what it is to move paper and how it might tear up your dry van because it's so heavy. But same with doing drays, man. Once you get to doing it, I mean, you kind of understand the ebbs and flows. You don't always know what's in it, but you understand the charges. 90% of it's probably going to be overweight. Let's be realistic because there are no packing standards. We're going to put everything we can in this thing and get it to the United States, so it's interesting. I mean, you always got to kind of roll with it. You can't let it get you too upset. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, appreciate you coming on. Hunter, you want to roll the SureLine ad?
Oh yeah.
We almost forgot to take our commercial break this time. We always start these off and we're like, yeah, maybe the show will only go a half an hour today. Who knows? And then you always get the conversation always gets started. Next thing you know, you're looking at the clock going, man, we just went an hour.
Well, then you invite a Yahoo on like me who will keep talking. I didn't even get started on Freight Hound bringing up, the information off DAT and things like that. That's
we'll do that the next show. One. We'll bring you on again and do a whole show on that.
Oh yeah, we could do that. I mean, it's funny.
But SureLine Capital. Be sure to reach out to Mr. Clint Weston for all your capital and factoring needs with the family focus, or you can reach out to him 801-605-8822, sales at SureLineCapital.com. Use code SureThing365 for your first invoice free up to $2,000. Oops. Where did that video just go?
You deleted it.
Did I? I have no idea where it is. Can you find it, Steve? Yeah, that's crazy. I can't find any of our videos now, but
you just deleted the whole file.
Yeah. I will say, because I always like to give a shout out to Clint and his team, and because I use them and they're the best factoring company out there. I had to call him today because that customer I was just telling you about that we moved all that stuff this weekend. They got a whole bunch more for us this week, and they were starting to get to their credit line limit, right? And even though their oldest invoice is only 24 days old, so they're not even due to pay anything yet, they were getting there, and they got a pretty large account credit limit. So I called Clint. Hey, sir, any chances we got some wiggle room here to add a little bit more? They've been paying on time. Oh, within a 5-minute phone conversation, yeah, we're good for a couple more weeks. I mean, the relationship with him, and like I said, when you do business with him, you do business with family, and it's cool. So,
luckily, I've been able to avoid that. I mean, I'm self-funded right now, so knock on everything good. But yeah, SureLine is of course top of the line. If I have to go in that or decide I'm tired of going in my pocket, that's where I'm headed for my factoring.
Yep. Well, it definitely works for a lot of those larger 30-day out customers that you use. It's beneficial. So anyway, that's all I got, sir.
That's all I got too. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you're just now joining us, be sure to go back, check out the show, listen to us, just do some good jargon, check out all the news on truckingnewshub.com, all your trucking news and industry news right at your fingertips. But until next week, stay junky. If you'd like to join us, be sure to reach out to us on all the social medias, myself or Steve. And until then, stay junky, crush them cans. We'll see y'all next time.